All right. So, hey, I'm excited to be here tonight. Second week of your Coach Basics, this round of Coach Basics for you guys with Liz and I. Last week, you guys had Liz. I was Liz. It's great that we work in a team because, like, I was called out of town on a family emergency last week. And so that's part of the reason I haven't been around as much in the page is we've had something going on within the family, somebody not doing too well, my wife's father. Isn't doing too well. And so we were down in South Carolina for a week or so. But we're back now and we're in full swing. And welcome to Coach Basics. I'm really excited to just talk to all of you guys and get to know you over the course of the next 6 weeks as well. You guys have been awesome doing the assignments and all of those things. I know Liz covered a lot of the basics last week with you guys as far as like what to expect, what the basics, the things to look out to master when it comes to Beachbody coaching are. I just want to share a little bit about myself with you because I don't want to assume that you guys know who I am or why you should be going through a group with me and Liz. But I've been doing Beachbody coaching for 6 years now, over 6 years. I'm actually the original founding coach of Swarm, which is one of the teams that you guys are part of, the larger team. There's about 3,000 of us as coaches. If you look, you see this fat guy right there in that picture? That guy right there up in this corner is kind of, that's me. And then this was actually back in 2009. This was me. That's my before picture with P90X. This was my after picture with P90X. So you might see that like on your join button, the guy in the silver underwear. This is actually signed by like Tony Horton and all those guys. That's when I was a finalist back in 09. So that's kind of how I started my journey. I was just like many of you guys. I started out just picking up a workout program, wanting to lose weight, tired of being fat, and decided to do something about it and to actually go to P90X. And I did P90X for 15 months. I lost 120 pounds and somehow became a finalist in the Beachbody Challenge. Knew nothing about coaching, had no plans on doing anything with coaching. At the time, I was running an insurance agency in my hometown and coaching high school football. And was perfectly happy making what I thought was a decent amount of money, about $60,000 a year. But I really just kind of caught the fuel of the fulfillment of helping other people do something that I was in love with, which was going through Beachbody, losing weight, getting healthy, taking control of their lives. And it's led me down a path that's been absolutely incredible. I've met some of the most incredible people in my life doing this. I had no intention. My first goal as a coach was if I could break even, if I could make $200 a month and help a few people and make enough money to pay for my fitness habit, that was really my initial goal when I was you and I first signed up to be a coach. I didn't have any aspirations of making a lot of money. I didn't have any aspirations of being 22-star diamond coach or being the leadership award winner, which I've won, some of those honors along the way. But it really was about 4 years ago when I decided to get serious about this as a business and do this. I started seeing some of my friends that I had, my workout buddies, my workout friends from around the country, really dig into coaching. And I've just been able to achieve some incredible things in their own personal lives financially. And also I could just see how happy they were. They had more time with their families. They had more time to travel. They were going around the world. And so I decided that I wanted to do that as well. And I didn't want to miss out. So here we are, 6 years after starting this team. My wife and I enjoy a mid-six-figure income as Beachbody coaches. Quite honestly, like I don't have to be here with you guys, whether I'm here with you guys this week or not. I'm going to get paid, right? And I'm going to make multiple thousands of dollars this week. And it's not about that. The reason that I'm here is quite honestly, you guys are what keeps my fire lit, to be honest with you. 6 years in, getting to work with the new people, getting to work with people who have their own dreams. For many of you, this is maybe like it was for me at first, just something that you want to do on the side, that you want to help a few people. You love Beachbody, you love the programs. Many of you started out just using those programs and all of those things. And so really, I love to spend my time with you guys. I enjoy doing these basics groups and ramp groups and challenge groups and working with people, and that's something that I'm passionate about. And so, my goal with you guys is just to help you get whatever it is you want. Right now it's you guys have made that choice to become coaches. And like anything in life, I mean, there's some things that you have to learn, right? And when you were first, if you go back to your job, whatever you're doing now as a job, when your first day on the job, you didn't know everything about the job. Even if you had some educational background in that field, you might not have known everything to do, but over the course of 3 or 6 months or 9 months or a year, you learned and you got better. And now it's like old hack. You just go into work and it's just your regular routine. And so that's really what basics is for us to get you up to speed with what is the basic routine of what coaches do, and make it something that you can fit into your life at whatever level that you want, whether that is at the, a small part-time level, building slowly, or whether you want to like build really fast and help a ton of people. You guys need to have in your mind what your personal goals are with this. And our job is to just teach you those basics and to teach you the best way that we know possible. So what I want to tell you is anything that I tell you, anything that Liz tells you, just comes out of our experience. We have no personal incentive to teach you anything that we don't believe in or that we don't know works, right? And so that's really the basis of this 6-week program. And so part of those basics, though, is building your challenge groups, right? And getting people started on their fitness journey, getting people pushing play, getting people drinking a shake, getting people to engage in the community of support, which we call challenge groups, and the community of coaches that we have. And we know that if they can do those 3 things, that they'll be starting on their own journey. But in the process, what we find is that a lot of coaches come in and you guys don't have, other than having a passion for the products, maybe we don't come into this. I didn't come into this knowing how to build a network marketing business. I didn't come into this knowing, the 5 steps or anything of that nature. And so oftentimes over the first few years that I was a coach, a lot of new coaches were like, well, what do I say? What do I do? Like, I don't even know what to say to these people. And then you find yourself getting into conversations, right? And in those conversations, you feel like you're doing the right things, but you don't understand why people aren't just jumping on it. You don't understand why they're not actually enrolling. You almost feel like you're pushing them away versus helping them. And so we came up with something called the 5-step process. And it's something that our team developed and that the network has adopted. And the 5-step invitation process is really, it's a guideline for you to follow. And so we're going to talk tonight about the 5-step invitation process. That's going to be tonight's training. There's no people that you can hear it from better than Liz and I, because we're the ones that created it. We're the ones that gave it to the company. In fact, I was just out in Santa Monica about 3 weeks ago filming a new training for the network that's going to be in the Coach Training Academy that's going to be available to all of you. You guys are going to get some of that training here tonight during this 45 minutes, okay? And so as you're out there, right now you guys should be thinking, and I know many of you have said, okay, I'm starting a June challenge group, or I'm going to start a challenge group at the beginning of July, but you have your start date for your challenge group, right? And you're out there and you're spreading the word, or you're talking to people about it, or you're posting about it. Hey, I got this challenge group starting, blah, 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 whatever the start date is. So what we do with prospects as they come in is what the 5 steps does is it gives you a consistent method on how to handle your prospects as they come to you or as you're speaking to them. So you can use the 5 steps. It's just a step-by-step guideline for you to follow as you're in conversation with people about Beachbody and about starting as a challenger or starting as a coach, either one. And so the 5 steps is what we do. So anytime we get somebody that's interested, we 5-step them. That's really the answer. So when you say, what am I supposed to do? You're supposed to walk them through these 5 steps. Okay, so I'm going to briefly explain to you those 5 steps. And I'm going to explain to you why we use them. Okay. The reason why we use these 5 steps is this. It makes for a more controlled conversation to where you can actually identify what it is that your prospect wants and needs so that you can help them versus push them into something that maybe they don't need or they're not yet ready for. Does that make sense? So it's actually better for the prospect side. It helps you as a coach understand who you're working with and where they're at and what they want. And it's also going to help you avoid objections. It's going to help you avoid people saying, well, I just can't afford it. Okay. Or all of that stuff. It's human nature for us to want to over-explain things. The 5 steps will help you not do that. Okay. It'll help you not over-explain. It'll help you not push people away. It'll help you not get all of those objections that people can give to you. And it'll help you help more people. That's really the basis of it. So just the 5 steps in general. And when you're looking at it on paper, it might not make as much sense to you as what it will when we do it verbally. Okay. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to explain those 5 steps. I'm going to give you some keys to those 5 steps that'll help you filter through those, and then Liz and I are going to role play those 5 steps so you could hear how I 5-step somebody when I'm talking to them about becoming a Beachbody challenger. And so the reason we're doing the challengers first is this. We start people as challengers, we upgrade them to coach. So whether we're talking to somebody about challenge or whether we're talking to somebody about coaching, it's the same thing. It's 5-stepping them, all right? And so step 1 is simple. It's the invitation into the conversation. And it can come in the form of a direct invitation where you directly go to somebody and say, hey, I'm looking for 3 people. Do you know anybody I should be talking with? It could be a direct invitation to them, or it could be a general promotion that you put openly on your Facebook page, right? You put something out there on your Facebook page. Or it could just be you're talking about, maybe you share somebody's story about the 21-day fix. And in that, somebody replies to you and say, hey, tell me more about this 21-day fix, okay? But step 1 is simply the invitation, whether it's an open promotion or whether it's a one-on-one invitation to the people. It's really sort of the hook that gets people into the conversation. Does that make sense? So what happens, though, is generally, and maybe some of you as newer coaches, how many of you have had at least one conversation with people about starting a Beachbody program or a challenge pack or something, right? You've talked to at least one person, right? So literally all of you are raising your hands. In those conversations, a lot of time, the person will come back and just ask you a question. Well, yeah, that sounds interesting. How much is it? Right? That's a lot of times what they say. How much is it? Human nature tells us that we get nervous when they ask about that, or they'll come back and say, well, yeah, tell me more about it. Both of those things are the most common responses we get from people. And where we screw up is we take the bait. Their question to you is what I call bait. They're casting bait at you and trying to get you to explain something that really you're not yet ready to give them the deal on. Does that make sense? And so it's human nature for us, if somebody says, well, tell me more about that, for us to want to vomit our enthusiasm, vomit everything we know, vomit our, we product vomit on people. And nobody likes to get puked on, right? And so what happens is they'll say, tell me more about that. And you'll be like, oh man, it's great. It's this group. And you buy this challenge pack. It only costs you a couple $100 and you get these shakes. And man, I've been doing P90X3 now and it's only 30 minutes long. I absolutely love it. And we start explaining. And that's the first step where we go wrong. That's the first thing where, 1, we can get a lot of objections. 2, we can push people away is when we start to explain up front. So what I want to teach you is this. From step 1 to step 2, there's going to be a bridge. How we control that is pretty simple, all right? So when the person says, tell me more about that, or how much is it, then I say, well, it depends on what you need. This is what we call the bridge to step 2. That depends on what you need. Why don't I ask you a few questions and we can go from there? Sound good? Does that make sense? Okay, it really is that simple. It's just kind of diffusing the question, saying it's like this. I need to ask you more questions so I can better understand where you're at before I tell you what it is you need or where we're going to go with it. Okay, so step 2 now is what I call the interview. It really is it's the interview. It's a series of questions that you can ask your prospect, your challenge prospect, or your coach prospect. For now, we're going to focus on challengers because right now that's what you guys should be out there getting is challengers, right? Getting people started on their fitness programs, on their challenge packs. And so in the interview is when we're going to ask questions. And so what I do in step 2 is I ask questions surrounding, I want you to write this down, fitness plus nutrition plus support equals success. That equation is the equation for success in Beachbody. We know that people need to work out. We know they need a nutritional guide. We know that they can use some healthy supplementation when it comes to something like Shakeology, as well as a nutritional plan and guidance there. And we know that they become what they're surrounded with. So we know that support and accountability are also a big factor to people's success. And so I'm just going to simply ask ask questions surrounding fitness, nutrition, and support or accountability. And in those, I'm going to get their answer. I'm going to feel out where they're at. It does 2 things. 1, it helps me get information that I might need about them. But 2, what it does for the person is it gives them a chance to slow down to reiterate in their mind why they might need something like this. Does that make sense? So when we slow down and ask questions, it's just a better way of handling it. And when we demonstrate that, when I ask questions about fitness, the first question I might say is, well, tell me what has you interested in doing this program. So let's say that they're asking about the 21-day fix or they're asking about T25. what has you interested in doing that program? That's the first question I ask. What have you been doing recently for your workouts? Have you been following any kind of exercise plan or program recently? What's the last thing you did? How did that go for you? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Right? Are all questions that I ask. I might ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your fitness level? Is a question that I might ask, right? Is I'm trying to get a feel for what they're accustomed to. Maybe there's somebody that hasn't worked out in a long, long time. And then I'll ask them the question, have you ever done a Beachbody program before? Have you done one of our programs before? How did that go? Did you finish it, right? I'm going to dig into that. So that's the fitness side. Nutritionally, I ask them some questions, and I'll ask them, well, so tell me about a typical day of eating for you. How would you rate your nutrition on a scale of 1 to 10? How would you rate your nutrition, with 1 being completely unhealthy and 10 being like completely strict vegan, like you're 100% nutritionally based person? I ask them, do you eat breakfast? Tell me what you typically do for lunch. I want to go through a typical day of their eating. I'll ask them, how often are you going out to eat? What are you normally making for dinner with your family? Those kind of questions. I want to get a feel for what they're doing nutritionally. Are you currently doing any nutritional supplements or shakes or anything like that? What are you getting? Where are you getting it? I want to figure out 2 things. 1, I want to figure out what they're doing nutritionally right now and why that's working or not working, right? And then 2, I want to figure out what they're spending money on. Because a lot of people are out there, because you might get the money objection is, well, I'm not quite sure I can afford it. The thing is this, people can afford it. They're just spending money on crap. They're going through Wendy's, right? Or they're stopping at the gas station and spending $7 at the gas station, or they think they're eating healthy. So they go to Subway for lunch, and how much are they spending at Subway? Right? They're spending $8 on a salad at Subway and getting, grade E meat that's barely humanly consumable, which is the truth. And so but once you start asking them those questions, it gets them thinking the same things. Man, I'm in bad habits. Man, I spend money. Man, blah, 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 blah. Right? Does that make sense? So the third thing I ask them about is accountability or support. I ask them, I'll just give you what I do. I just ask them, so do you have any friends or family that are around you that are into working out and exercise and stuff like that? Is there anybody around you that would support you in this and help you stay accountable? Have you ever been part of an accountability group before, or had a coach or an accountability group as part of your plan? Right? If so, how'd that go? If not, do you think that's something that might help you? Okay. So once I go through those series of questions and I gather their answers, and you'll see how this works when Liz and I role play this. It's stopping and taking 10 minutes to ask some simple questions around those 3 categories that will help you better help them. But here's the thing. I don't explain anything about Beachbody. I'm not explaining the program. I'm asking questions. Okay. So step 3 is this: connect them to a resource, connect them to something else that will explain what it is we do and why we do it. Right. Those resources that I personally use when I'm talking to challenge prospects are videos that the company has put together. And I let them watch these videos. And those videos, there's 2 videos that I show prospects when it comes to being a challenger. Okay. One is, have you ever felt like this? And then the second one is customer success stories. Okay. And I get both of those videos. So what we did, so if you go in your online office, how many of you have been in your online office and you're like, oh my God, there's a ton of crap in here, right? And it can get overwhelming, right? Like you're back there and you're clicking around, you're like, I'll never get through all this stuff. Like there's 15,000 videos back there. And you go back there searching for the one video you find, and you can't figure out where it's at because you got to scroll through all these videos to find it. And then right? It just makes it hard, right? So how many of you would like it to be easier to find your videos, right? Okay, well, we've made it easier. We've created a team YouTube channel that houses all of the 10 to 15 most used videos that you can easily go to. It's youtube.com YouTube.com/swarm video 1, the number 1. I'll have Nicola go ahead and post a link to that in the Rock the Basics page. But it's youtube.com/swarm video 1. And so all I do then is, after I ask these questions, I'm going to bridge them to the video. And there's 3 things that I'm going to do when I bridge. Okay, 1, I'm going to bridge them to the video. But the 2 is this: I'm going to schedule the watch. This is where coaches will drop the ball. Is they're like, oh yeah, check out this video and let me know once you watched it. They don't schedule the exact time when the person's going to watch it. You have to treat it like an appointment. I want you to write this down. If you treat this like a business, it'll pay you like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. So if somebody was going to come into your office, if you had a building at work, would you schedule a time for them to come in? Would you put it in the appointment book, right? Think about cosmetologists, doctors, lawyers. You know, they schedule an appointment and then they keep it, right? So we schedule the watch and then we schedule the follow-up. Those are the 2 things we have to schedule before we send them the videos. So we have to set the expectation of when they're going to watch it, and then set the expectation of when and how I'm going to follow up with them. It really is just giving very clear direction, very simple and clear direction as to what to expect next, all right? So step 3 then, I go to that YouTube channel, I pull the video or 2 videos. Let's say they're asking about a specific program like T25. Maybe I'll send them the T25 video along with the challenge group videos, right? So maybe they'll have 5 to 10 minutes of videos total to watch. And in those videos, they should have a better grasp of what we do with our challenge groups and what the deal is. They're also going to get testimonials from other challengers that have been through Facebook groups, okay? And those testimonials will support what we do and how it's helped other people succeed. All right, and so step 3 is just send them the videos. But the way that you do that, by scheduling the watch, scheduling the follow-up, makes or breaks the deal. Step 4 then is giving them the deal. Okay, that's when you give them the deal. That's when you explain, here's the contract. This is what we're going to do, right? Does that make sense? Versus explaining the deal up front when they ask you about it. If you explain it up front, they haven't had a chance to mentally go through what they need to go through to get to where they need to go to make a decision yet. But when you explain it in step 4, it just makes it much smoother. So step 4 is the follow-up and the deal. So I always ask 2 questions, 2 simple questions when I follow up with them. The first one is this: did you have a chance to watch the video? Right? Hey, you know, you said you're going to watch that video this morning. Did you have a chance to watch it? Yes. Great. What did you like about it? Is always the next question. What did you like about that? All right. And then I'm looking the whole time that I'm looking for green lights. I'm looking for green lights that tell me they're interested, that tell me they need it, that tell me that they're ready to say yes. Does that make sense? So they're either going to give you green lights or red lights. And I want you to write this down. Not everybody is going to be ready to say yes. In fact, more people are going to say no than what say yes. All right? You got to think like a baseball player. You know, a baseball player that bats 300 means that they get a hit 3 out of 10 times. 3 out of 10 times they get on base. And they bat 300 and they're on the all-star team. That means they're friggin' awesome. Does that make sense? It's the same with coaching. You might get 1 out of 10 to say, you might get 1 out of 10. You might get 1 out of 20. You might fumble this at first, and that's perfectly okay. Listen, during Coach Basics especially, this is your time to practice. This is your time to practice these 5 steps and learn to master them. Because once you learn them, it becomes second nature. You just do it automatically, right? How many of you have ever heard a song before? In that song, like the first time you hear it, you're like, you don't know the tune, you don't know the words, you don't know the melody, right? And so it's just a song. But after you hear it 10, 12, 15 times, all of a sudden it comes on the radio and you're singing along with it. How many of you have experienced that before, where you've learned a song? How many of you, if I said, and I know Jordan Bardage is only about 19 years old, so he probably doesn't remember, you know, but if I said, hey, Young MC, bust a move, how many of you are old enough to remember bust a move, right? And you don't just stand there, bust a move, and all of a sudden you start singing the song, right? No, Jason's shaking his head no. Okay, what about, man, I don't know. I don't know what you were into. How many people could sing Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle, right? You know, like, you know, the song would come on and 25 years later, now that you're 40 years old, I'm 30, I'll be 39 next month. So that tells you my age. You know, you remember the songs. Well, it's the same with the 5 steps. At first, you're not going to know it. At first, you're going to struggle with it. At first, you're going to be like, oh my God, I screwed that up. And listen to me. That's okay. I expect you to, okay? I totally expect you to screw it up. I don't expect you to be perfect at this. But what I do expect you to do is focus on learning it and using it in the process, okay? So number 4 is follow-up. Number 5 is enroll. That's the fun, is enrollment, okay? So the first thing that we have to teach you guys is how to 5-step people to get them to enroll. Then what comes after is, what do I do with them once they enroll, right? That's the next question after that. So with that said, one of the best ways for us to get you to begin learning these 5 steps, the great thing about the 5 steps is they can be done verbally, they can be done through text messaging, they can be done through Facebook. It doesn't matter the method, it doesn't matter the medium that you're using to communicate, that you can always 5-step people. So I 5-step people on Facebook, I 5-step them through texting, and I 5-step them on the phone or face-to-face. It doesn't matter. Every conversation I have looks like a 5-step process, okay? Which is awesome. So if you're not somebody right now that feels comfortable getting on the phone with people, not a big deal. Use Facebook. You can 5-step them on Facebook. In fact, throughout this 6 weeks, we'll be posting examples when I'm 5-stepping somebody, or Liz is, through our Facebook. I'll copy and paste it and post it to you so you can see how that looks. But one of the best ways for us to introduce you to this and get you to learn is to just role play it. So we're going to role play the 5 steps. And I'm just going to start with Liz. Hi, Liz.
I have to unmute. Hold on.
I unmuted you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm quick like that. Quick draw McGraw. All right. So I see Bernadette laughing with the puppy. I don't know if you're in Louisville or not. So, hey, I want to use that as an example. So Bernadette, if you see Bernadette Bauman down here, guys, man, people are just everywhere, you know, and it's incredible how you meet them. I mean, I had a bachelor party in Louisville, Kentucky, and we rented their house, her and John Bauman, their house, and her husband, John, is an awesome guy who is actually, he's an authoritative speaker on Parkinson's disease. He has Parkinson's disease. I've been listening to his audio in my car. He's got some new material that's coming out here coming up. They're going to be at Summit this year, but it just happened to be that we got a conversation with them out in the driveway, and that they're really into, you know, health and fitness and just living healthy, and they want to help people. And so they have a heart for helping people. And so, and here she is now. She's in the Coach Basics, and John's listening along. So I want to welcome them. You know, but I just want you guys to understand something. You pass people every day. That if you just learn how to smile, you just learn how to ask some questions, get engaged in their life a little bit, and learn how to make a friendship, you never know where it's going to lead you. And all of a sudden, we've got these 2 incredible people joining us in the Coach Basics and learning how to do this on a part-time basis as they travel around the country. So, so with that said, and then we got Liz, right? And I know, Liz, you led the call last week, right? And unfortunately, I was unable to be on it. But guys, Liz, I want you to understand something. So Liz is really, she's been one of the top performers in our entire organization for like 2.5 straight years. And like you, she was a little bit nervous. She didn't exactly know what to expect as a coach. It took her a little bit of time to warm up to it. But once she figured it out, and once she started clicking, man, it's really become a passion of hers. And she's somebody that I trust greatly, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, she's a personal friend of mine. They live locally to my wife and I, and so we spend a lot of time with them. But Liz is somebody that you want to learn as much as you can from, because she knows this stuff as well. I learn a lot from her. Does that make sense? As much success as I've had, I spend a lot of time learning from Liz and what she's doing, because she's always up on the social media stuff and doing all that stuff as well. So Liz and I are going to role play the 5 steps. So let's just set this up. Let's just say that Liz is somebody I went to high school with, and she's on Facebook, right? This is kind of a common scenario that we find because all of us are using Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So Liz is on Facebook, and she sees that I've been talking about this Beachbody stuff, and I show the pictures of my wife doing the 21-day fix and how she got back to her pre-baby weight just following the food plan from the 21-day fix and all that stuff, right? So let's say that Liz also has children. She's somebody I went to high school with, and so she replies to me on Facebook and says, hey, what's this, you know, I just saw the pictures of your wife. That's incredible. What's this 21-day fix stuff, right? Okay, so she's going to say that to me, and I want you to recognize what I do in that situation, because there's two ways you can handle it. One is you could explain everything about the 21-day fix, or two, you could slow down, take a deep breath, ask a few questions, and go through the process with her so that she has the time she needs to do what she wants to do. So Liz, go ahead and send me that. She's going to send it to me verbally. So go ahead and send that message.
Hey, Tommy, I've seen the pictures of Ashley's before and afters. That's awesome. What is this program?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's just something that we're doing and we absolutely love. What makes you ask?
She looks great, and I know she just had a baby not too long ago, and I know like the program, it has it's 21 days, so the results are pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you actually interested in doing something yourself, or?
Yeah, actually I am. I was thinking about it.
Okay, well, great. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I just ask you a few questions and we can go from there? Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. So you're interested in doing this. Have you been doing any kind of fitness program recently?
Not really. I mean, I try to stay active, but I mean, nothing that is really consistent.
Okay, like just like general activity. Like tell me about what you do to stay active.
Well, I have 7-year-old twins, and they're always keeping me busy. So we're always doing baseball games and running them somewhere.
Right. So you would say you're a busy parent. When's the last time that you really focused on your own exercise and fitness?
I try to at least weekly, maybe go for a run or do like a workout DVD or something like that. But usually maybe it's only like once or twice a week.
Okay. Have you ever done any of our Beachbody programs before?
No, I haven't.
No? Okay. Awesome. And so tell me about, so what would be some of your goals fitness-wise? I mean, are you looking to lose weight? Or are you just wanting to tone up? I mean, what would be some of your personal goals?
Well, I mean, I definitely know that I want to tone up. My body's different since I had kids. So, I mean, if weight loss comes with that, I guess that would be good. But mostly, like, I just want to tone and feel good in my clothes.
Okay. Yes, I totally understand that. I used to feel like crap in my clothes too, so I know how you're feeling. So tell me about your eating. I mean, nutritionally, like, what are you doing right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your eating, with 1 being like completely terrible and 10 being like completely super healthy?
I would probably say I probably fall somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I try to eat as healthy as I can, but sometimes I find myself picking off of my kids' plates and peanut butter jelly or something like that I know is I probably could be eating something more. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. So typically, I mean, like, are you eating breakfast every day?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes the mornings are so busy that I don't even eat breakfast.
Okay. What do you typically do for like lunch and dinner?
Whatever my kids eat. So like lunch would be, I don't know, something that is quick.
Right. Okay.
And dinner is just usually something that we do as a family. So I would probably say dinner is probably my most wholesome meal, I guess, my most well-rounded meal.
Okay, good. So yeah, I just want to ask you a few more questions. So do you have anybody else around you that's into fitness that would work out with you or support you in it?
I mean, probably my husband. I mean, we're both really active. So, that if I were doing something, he would probably support me in it.
Cool. Yeah. Well, awesome. Have you ever been part of like an accountability group or had any coaching when it comes to like a fitness program?
No coaching.
Okay. You've never done any coaching or accountability with that or anything? Mostly just like going out for a run or doing that stuff and kind of, so your eating's not terrible, but it's not completely great either, right?
Right.
Okay, awesome. Well, it just sounds to me like maybe you just lack a plan and something that is organized that can get you on the right track with things. Like you're not completely off track, but and I don't know if this is for you or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So time out. What I just did there is something called disarming, and you need to learn to do that. Okay, you need to learn to disarm people. And disarming means when I said I'm not sure if this is for you or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? But from what you've been telling me, it sounds like it might be, and it's worth checking out and considering, okay? So that's what we call disarming, making it okay for them to say yes or no. We're not trying to force people into anything. That's another area where coaches can go wrong, is they try to convince people this is what they need. They push them, right? Versus disarming it and letting it be okay, right? There's nothing sleazy or sales tacky about what I'm doing. It's just I'm asking her some questions. I'm trying to figure out if this is for her. And so I'm going to disarm her. And when I disarm her, that does a couple of things. One, it eases the tension. She doesn't feel like this is like something she has to do or I'm going to be pissed at her, right? Does that make sense? And two, it just lets her know she's going to be checking out some more stuff. So I'm going to start right there. So Liz, I mean, by the sounds of it, it just seems like maybe you need a plan that works. You're not completely off track, but this very well could be something for you. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But from everything that you've been telling me, it sounds like something that might fit you. So it's definitely worth checking out. So, but just to make absolutely certain, why don't I send you some more information and you can check it out and we can go from there. Sound good?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds
awesome.
good.
So if I send you a couple of videos that explain more, would you have 5 minutes to watch those?
Yeah.
So that's how I bridge from 2 to 3. If I send you some videos, would you have 5 minutes to watch it? Would you? Okay. I got the agreement. That's called an agreement, right? She agrees to watch these videos. It's pretty simple stuff. So if I send you a couple of videos that explain more, would you have 5 minutes to watch them?
Yes. Absolutely.
Awesome. Can I just go ahead and send those to your Facebook? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So when would you have 5 minutes? Do you have 5 minutes right now to watch it, or would later tonight be better?
I could watch it right now.
Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and send you those videos. If you can watch them right now, then I'll just follow up with you in about 10 or 15 minutes and see what you thought. Is that cool?
Sounds good.
Awesome. So that's it. So I did 2 things. I bridged to step 3, if I would you. I scheduled the watch. I want you to write this down. You've got a 24-hour ticking clock to set the appointment for them to watch the videos, right? How many people have busy lives? They got all kinds of other stuff. By the time 24 hours goes by, there's 15,000 other messages that have come into their day that have taken up their thoughts, that have taken up their energy, that have taken up their mind. And right now they're thinking about what we're talking about. So if we can get them to watch the videos immediately, great. If not, you want to try to schedule the appointment for within the next 24 hours. That's why I always give them 2 options. Can you watch them right now, or would later tonight, or would tomorrow morning be better? When could you, and if she says, well, tonight's really busy, I'm not quite sure I can watch them today, then I say, great, I need you to have these watched by tomorrow afternoon. When could you watch them between now and tomorrow afternoon? They only take 5 minutes, right? But I want to schedule that appointment for her to watch those. While it's fresh in her mind, while we just had the conversation, if we let 3, 4, 5, 6 days drag out, how many of you know that you've had simple tasks that have come into your life and they get 2 or 3 days or 4 days out, and that simple little task will eat at you and eat at you and eat at you because you didn't get it done, right? Watching these videos is a little task. It's an assignment that we give to people that we know if we get them to do it immediately versus dragging it out over a week, that it's more likely to get done. And it's something simple they can do. It's 5 minutes, okay? So at that point, I would grab the videos from the YouTube channel. I would send them to her Facebook, say, here, go ahead and check out these videos. They take 5 minutes to watch. And then I'm going to follow up with you, right? I'll follow up with you in 15 minutes. Or I'll follow up with you later. Maybe I'm at work and I'm super busy and I'm on lunch break and I don't have time to follow up right now. 15 minutes, I'm going to be back at my office desk working, so I can't follow up. Then I would ask her if it would be okay if I followed up with her when I got off of work or later tonight. I would schedule the follow-up. But it's the same rule, 24 hours. 24-hour ticking clock, okay? In this case, we had the conversation. The more immediate you can make things happen, the more success you're going to have. That's the point. That's the point. One step at a time, immediate action, immediate result, all right? So let's say Liz watched those videos, and I call her back up. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Liz, how you doing? It's Tommy.
Hey.
Hey, did you have a chance to watch those videos?
I did.
Good. What did you like about them?
Well, I really like that it's structured, that it's telling me exactly what to do, telling me exactly what to eat, and I really think the support is going to be awesome too.
Okay, awesome. Well, it sounds like something that you definitely will benefit from and that you want to do. And the next step is pretty simple. So that's how I get them to the deal. The next step is pretty simple. The next step is ta-da, we enroll you. So and the next step is pretty simple. We pretty much just get you enrolled on a challenge pack. You'll go ahead and enroll on your 21-day fixed challenge pack. And when I give them the deal, I want to remind them everything they're getting. And then that's when I give them the cost. That's when I give them the agreement of what they're going to pay for that, right? So you're going to get the 21-day fixed challenge pack. Is going to come complete with your 21-day fixed workout programs and all of the containers for the portion control and nutritional plan, which is awesome. My wife and I love it. You're also going to get a free 30-day trial in the club membership, which is going to give you access to all of the nutritional and trainer tips online through the company website. You'll get the full fitness guidelines that you can read through, and that'll help you with the program. You'll also get your first month's supply of Shakeology, which you'll be just using once a day throughout the program. You'll be drinking that once a day. And all of that comes for an initial investment of just $160 a day. How did you want to cover that, with a debit or a credit card?
Can I just do like my debit card?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So that's always my closing question is, how do you want to cover that, with a debit or a credit card? That's what I ask to close. This is where people get nervous. We get afraid to just ask them to do what they've already been telling you they want to do to begin with. Does that make sense? If you get nervous, they get nervous. Okay? I had a very wise uncle. I had an uncle who was the vice president of sales for Owens Corning before all the asbestos claims came around, when it was a Fortune 500 company. And he once told me this, that people want to, you just need to ask them. People want to, you just need to ask. And listen, you can never ask the wrong question to the right person. I want you guys to understand that. Okay? You can't ask, if you ask, if they say yes or no, that tells you more about them than it does about yourself. Does that make sense? Don't make it about you. Make it about them. If you just simply ask the question, hey, and if you're afraid to screw it up, I want you to write this down. Because many of you might be afraid to screw this up. Many of you might be afraid to ask the question. I want you to write this down. Lead with your fear. If your fear is screwing it up, then simply say, listen, I don't want to screw this up. So I'm just going to ask you, is this something you're ready to do? If so, why don't we go ahead and walk you through the process? Right? That's a way for you to do that. If your fear is that they're going to think all you want to do is make money, right? That's a fear for a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches are like, I want to help people. I just don't want them to think all I want is money, right? For some reason, we have this innate thing in us. Once we attach a dollar sign to something, or once we attach a commission to it, we have this fear that people are going to see us as this sleazy salesperson. If you follow the 5 steps, it won't come off that way, I promise you. When you come off sleazy is when you try to be the expert and you over-explain things that you know nothing about. That's when you do that, that's when they know that you're just a bullshitter, and they're going to throw the bullshit flag, and they run. And yes, I said bullshit. I did. Okay? A couple of you are smiling. A couple of you are like, oh, man, this guy's kind of raw. But all right? But just understand something, that you can't ask the wrong question. I want to take the pressure off of you guys. I've been doing this now for 6 years. Does that make sense? I've had 4 years to do the 5 steps. I created them. I don't expect you guys to be perfect at this stuff at first. But if you just follow, even if you just ask some questions, you don't ask all the questions, right? If you just ask some questions in those categories. I want you to write this down. Anytime you find yourself, the person explaining loses, the person asking questions wins. Okay? And anytime you find yourself explaining, you have 2 options. One is to shut up, ask a question, and listen. And number 2 is connect them to a resource. Get out of the situation, let the resource explain. Let the website explain, right? I'll give you an example, man. So recently my wife and I made a decision that we're gonna be leaving Ohio and moving to the Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton area in Florida. Yeah, Jason, I'm gonna be your neighbor. I know. It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy. But in doing that, the first thing I did, right, was I connected myself to a resource. I started looking at houses online, right? I used the online websites as a resource to research the area, research the market, research the housing prices, research all that stuff, right? I started researching, best ways to sell a home, best ways to buy a home, all that stuff, okay? But I went to a resource. People are used to gathering information from a resource, a video, a website, something of that nature. So let's say that you find yourself explaining Shakeology, right? Explaining Shakeology. Instead of you, because here's the thing, you're never going to explain it the same way twice. You might not give complete information. It's better for you to say, man, I love it. All you're there to do is share a story and connect them to a resource. Yeah, I love this stuff. Why don't I connect you to my website? You can check it out. You have a Shakeology website that explains Shakeology for you, right? You guys see what I'm saying, okay? So here's the other deal. So we did the 5 steps, and Liz and I role played that, and that's for getting a prospective customer, a challenger, to get started on a pack. Are they always going to go that smoothly? No. Are people going to have some objections? Yes. Expect objections. I'm doing an objection handling training at Summit. That video is going to be available. But I'm just going to give you the most common one that people run into is money, right? The most common objection is money. And I know I saw some of you were posting, man, that you really wanted help in that area. So I want to give you that help tonight. And I want to demonstrate to you how I handle that. I want you to understand something. If you do the 5 steps the right way, you're going to already prevent 80% of the objections you otherwise would get. Objections are either prevented or provoked. They're prevented or provoked, right? So you provoke them. One, if you have a money objection, your people are going to have a money objection. If you think it's expensive, your people are going to think it's expensive because you're expecting that. Does that make sense? If it's expensive to you, it's going to be expensive to them. So you better have in your mind that it's well worth every single dollar that you've ever spent on Beachbody. I've spent thousands of dollars on Beachbody products, and I look at it, and it was worth every penny for me. I have a mother now who's 62 who's lost 45 pounds. She's off her cholesterol meds. I've got a wife who drank Shakeology all through her pregnancy as her prenatal. She drank it as her prenatal, for that reason, and drank it all through breastfeeding and all of those things. Our baby's never been sick. Never had it, perfectly healthy, right? I could give you story after story of why I believe that it's worth it, just from the health side. But if you have a money objection, your people will. If you're nervous that they'll have a money objection, they'll have a money objection, right? Does that make sense? If you ask the questions the right way, you'll get them to realize they're spending money in places on food, what their habits are, okay? So you'll prevent objections. But let's say the case comes up where they do have a money objection. They're like, well, I'd like to do it, but it seems kind of expensive. I'm not sure I can afford that right now, right? How many of you run into that, right? Like I'm not sure. I know Jordan does. I know he's talked about that. And he does naturally because he's 19 years old. 19-year-olds are going to have money objections because 19-year-olds are typically broke, right? Does that make sense? So he's got a choice. He can either learn to deal with those money objections, or he can start prospecting people who aren't 19 years old, people who do have the money, right? But in that situation, I want you to write this down. Are you serious and you can't afford it? Or are you not serious and you're afraid to tell me no? Okay? Followed by, if I, would you? And I'll explain this. So Liz, let's just say that we get to step 4, and I give her the deal, and I tell her it's going to be $160 for the challenge pack, right? So Liz, so the next step is just simply getting you enrolled on a challenge pack and getting you going on your 21-day fix. With that challenge pack, you're going to get the 21-day fix program. You're going to get the nutritional guide. You're going to get all of those cool little containers that'll help you control your portions and plan out your eating day. You'll get all the workouts with the videos. You're also going to get your first month supply of Shakeology. And you're going to get the coaching and support of me and a group, an accountability group that will put you in on Facebook. And all of that comes for an initial investment. I always call it an initial investment. It's an investment in their health. It's not a cost. It's not an expense. It's a restructuring of their priorities from Wendy's to health. That's all it is, right? And that's what people need. People need a kick in the ass to restructure their priorities, okay? But I always call it an initial investment. That comes with an initial investment of $160 today, and you can cover that one of two ways with a debit or credit card. Which would you prefer to use?
Well, I mean, $160 is a lot for me right now. I mean, my kids are on a lot of activities, and spending extra money right now is just, I don't know if it's something I can do like right now.
Okay, well, I can certainly write this down. Validate and overcome. I can understand that. There's one way to handle objections is to just understand it. Take the tension off of it, right? Like, don't get nervous and don't be like, well, what do you mean you can't afford it? You fool. Right? If you get defensive and nervous, it's a done deal. They're never going to do it. Okay? But she says that, and I simply say, well, yeah, I can certainly understand that. I know what it's like to have money be tight. So let me ask you a question. Are you serious about wanting to do this and you honestly can't afford it? Or are you just not serious about it and you're just afraid to tell me no?
No, I'm serious. I do want to do it. I just really don't know if we have the money to.
Okay, well, I definitely want to help you do it if it's something that you want to do. If I could show you a way to either save or earn the money so that you could earn enough to pay for your challenge pack and do it for free, would you be interested in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Here's the thing, guys, time out. We have a natural built-in solution to her issue. And that solution is she goes finds 3 buddies that want to do this fixed program with her. We enroll her as a coach. We enroll her people. She's going to earn enough money to pay for her pack. Does that make sense? So that's how I would handle that. I would flip it into an opportunity to put coaching in front of her and show her that she could earn money for referring people and bringing in a few of her friends. Right? If she's serious about wanting to do it and she honestly doesn't have the money, then we have to provide a solution. Our job is to be a problem solver for that objection, right? And so I can either offer her to do that, or I could, and if she balks at that, say, well, the other option is for us to take a look at where you're spending money and figure out where you're spending it, that you don't need to be spending it, so that we can restructure it and you could save money up over the course of the next few weeks. So let's go through what you do with your money. I mean, how often are you going out to eat? How much are you spending on groceries every week? How many times a week are you stopping at the gas station? On average, when you go through Taco Bell, how much are you spending? Right? How much a bag of Oreos cost you? You know what I'm saying, though? That's one way to do it, is to get her to see that she has the money. She's just making a choice to do with her money something different than this. That's all. She has the money. They're spending it somewhere, right? Does that make sense? But if she's eating Subway every day for lunch, I could simply handle that money objection saying, well, what do you do for lunch every day? She says, well, typically, I'll go to Subway. So just do that. So, well, tell me, what are you doing for lunch every day?
Well, usually I just go to Subway.
Okay. Well, so on average, when you go to Subway, how much are you spending?
Usually about like $8.
Like $8. Okay. So if I could show you a way to get Shakeology for $3.50 and have you do that for lunch every day, that would save you $4.50 every day. Over the course of a month, that's $150 a month, every month that you do that. Would that be something that you'd consider doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Done. Great. So that's the plan. I just made a plan for her, a very simple plan on how she can save the money, showing her where she's spending it and what she would save by doing Shakeology and what that would save her a month. Does that make sense? Okay. So, but that's the whole deal. I mean, as far as just handling that objection specifically. So with that, what time is it? 9:57. So we've been on here for an hour. So that's your intro to the 5 steps. I don't expect you to be perfect with it. My advice to you, though, is start 5-stepping people. If you get a prospect and you're not quite sure what to do with them, what to say with them, come into the page. I'm going to be in there much more diligently starting now. Come in the page, just post, hey, I got this prospect. This is what they're saying. What do I do? And we'll help you 5-step them. Does that make sense to you guys? Until you learn how to do that. That's the first option. but just learn to do this. There's also going to be after Summit. So Summit is next week. Summit is next week. I'm going to be in Vegas Wednesday night. So what are we doing? So what we'll probably do, how many of you are going to Summit? I know Bernadette's going. Is anybody else? Jay's going. My boy Jay's going, right? I know Jordan said he wants to go next year. So the majority of you are not going to be in Vegas. Some of you are going to be there, and we're going to be doing workouts with 10,000 friggin' coaches. It's going to be awesome, right? We're going to have our own team event with just a few hundred people. It's going to have, Tony Horton, Shalene Johnson, Carl Deichler, Sean T, the Les Mills crew is going to be there talking right to us, just to our team, which is super awesome, right? That's going to be Thursday morning. It's going to be a blowout event, man. I'm really super, super, super excited. So, but what I'll do is I'll record a training for next week that you guys can just watch instead of doing the live call on Wednesday night, because we're going to be in Vegas next Wednesday night, okay? So we'll post that recording on Wednesday next week, and that'll be your homework assignment, and it'll be the next training that we would have done anyway. So with that said, man, you guys right now should just be thinking about, okay, what am I talking about on social media? Who do I have that might want to do this, right, as far as the challengers go? The first step is just learning how to find a few challengers, getting people started with the challenge pack, learning how to 5-step them, all of that stuff. Once you master that, guys, now it's just like old hack, right? Once you master the 5-step, every time you get in a conversation, it's just the same thing over and over. It's the same conversation. If you guys can learn a song, you can learn how to 5-step people. But after Summit, so the training that I just did is going to be in the online office. You guys can listen to that as much as you want after it's posted after Summit. And I would suggest that you do that. Just like listening to music and you learn the words and you learn the song, you go listen to the training that we did with a live role play like what we just did, and you'll start learning it. Okay. So with that said, guys, listen, keep at it, man. I'm really proud of this group. I'm proud of how active you guys are. I'm proud of the fact that all of you are taking time out of your busy days to get away from your families and jobs and being here with us. And so I respect that greatly. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys over the course of the next 6 weeks and seeing what we can do together. It's going to be amazing. So high fives. You guys are free. Class dismissed. Peace out, A-Town. Yeah, high fives. We'll see you guys.